Alright, so let's have a discussion about Dragon Ball Super Manga Chapter 41, which is going to be the beginning of the end, the climax of the Tournament of Power. Now, finally, Goku squaring off against Jiren. The last manga chapter ended with Goku tapping into Ultra Instinct Omen, and now Jiren has to deal with that. Now, just like with last month's review, I will not be showing any manga panels in this month's review. Those of you who might not know what happened, I ran into a bunch of copyright problems with Shueisha, and while I am still on the road to hopefully getting whitelisted through the company, it takes a little bit of time. So, no manga panels from me, unfortunately, here in this manga review. But I will give you my thoughts and analysis on the entire manga. And, of course, feel free to leave yours in the comment section down below. The French Dragon Ball Super website, dragonballsuper-french.fr, already has it up. And it should be up on Viz literally within a couple of days if you're in the United States. So, if you haven't read it yet, that's the place to go. Now, the manga, as I've said in the past, since the Trunks arc has been a huge letdown for me, and it has nothing to do with Toyotaro as an artist. To me, it has to do with the fact that his storytelling is bad, mostly because I feel like he makes a lot of unnecessary changes that create more problems when compared to even the anime version, which had a lot of problems too. With manga chapter 41, Toyotaro chooses to... Maybe he doesn't choose to, but it seems like he is focusing on fighting above story. And to me, that's a good thing. Even though I think Dragon Ball should have a great story. I think Dragon Ball Z, and aspects of Super do have a great story. I think when it comes to the manga, Toyotaro really shines when he gets to draw, he gets to showcase his art versus telling a story. I think his, accentuating the positives and hiding the negatives, his negatives is that his storytelling is subpar in my opinion, but his art is great. And yeah, I don't think he's as good as Toriyama, and there's been some controversy about his art and referencing and whatnot. I still think he's a generally good artist. I would actually go so far as to say he's a great artist. And I think reading the manga, even though again it's not quite as enthralling page to page as the original Dragon Ball manga was, the one from the 80s and 90s, it's still fun to read, and I think his panels, especially this month, shine. So to me, I'm going to tell you right off the hop that I feel like this manga chapter is a step in the right direction. Last month's manga chapter was kind of sliding upward, like getting better, and this one I feel like it's the same thing. Now, one thing about the pacing is that a lot of folks have said that the manga is going very fast-paced. Obviously, you should know why. The Dragon Ball Super Broly movie is coming out in December in Japan, and there's going to be a manga version of that story. So obviously Toyotaro has to wrap this thing up by December, most likely. I can't say I know for certain when he's going to end it, but it would make sense to me that he ends it in December, and then January, February, or maybe February, March, we have the beginning of the Broly version, or the manga version of the Broly events, because that is the continuation after the Tournament of Power. I mean, that makes logical sense. So, with this manga chapter, I love the opening panel, Goku and Jiren squaring off. Goku's just walking towards Jiren, doing that kind of zombie Ultra Instinct thing. Jiren readies himself, and Jiren goes for a shot, and he misses, because Goku is extremely fast in Ultra Instinct, but he still connects. So, even right now, they're telling us, just with, and again, this is the beautiful thing about well done manga, is you don't have to explain everything. The panels and the art themselves tell you the story. And the story that's being told is that, unlike other characters, except maybe Roshi, who did dodge Jiren for a while, right? Remember that craziness? Goku and Ultra Instinct Omen is still doing a great job. So really, this manga chapter is almost entirely composed of great fights. And honestly, that's a good thing in this case. I think it's a good, easy read. I think you can read through this thing and enjoy it, and there's not much to really be cringy about, but there are some interesting story reveals in this version. So, essentially for the first part, we have Jiren trying to connect with Goku. He dodges, but he does end up connecting, and so that's kind of where the story goes here in the first part. Jiren tries to go for a ki blast and actually blows apart chunks of the arena. So this idea of the arena being destroyed was definitely Toriyama's, even though I feel like in the anime version of this fight, by the time we got to this part, which is closer to the end of the manga, to the end of the story, not like the 109 and 110, I feel like the arena was way, way more decayed and way more torn apart than before. So Jiren tries to go for ranged attacks, but Goku is still very strong, so Jiren powers up, just jacked up, huge power up. Really, there's a scene, and I don't know if it was traced or not, I couldn't tell you, but there is a scene where Jiren powers up, and there's like a crater formed around him, and it really reminded me of Goku powering up against 19. I don't know if he referenced that or if it's an homage, because remember, Toyotaro does love Dragon Ball. As much as people want to criticize him, he is, and I really, people have misconstrued my opinion of him. My only issue is that I don't think he's a very good storyteller, but as far as art and as far as his love of Dragon Ball, it's there. I mean, he's got the passion for it, and I respect the guy. I really do respect him. He does a lot of homages, to the old manga, and I'm okay with that. Like, it really doesn't bug me too much. I don't think he stretched it to the point where it's annoying. So Jiren powers up, and, he's going again at Goku, and more of the arena gets blown up, but this time, something gets triggered in Goku, and he delivers a huge punch to the gut. Now, obviously, it's a big uppercut to the gut. If you've been reading Dragon Ball, or even if you never read the manga, even if you only saw the anime, you know that Goku punching Jiren to the gut is total classic Goku, not just with the way he punched Nappa during their fight, but really the way that the panel is structured. It is meant to look like the uppercut that Goku delivered to Demon King Piccolo in the 23rd Budokai. I mean, that's the way it looks. Some people on Twitter have already made the comparison, but the big reveal here is that Goku does indeed have the silver hair. So right now, Goku has tapped into Mastered Ultra Instinct. Now, obviously, the big complaint's going to be, wow, that was fast. Well, I mean, that's been the issue with this chapter, or with this saga the entire time, is that it's very rushed and very quickly paced. But at the same time, some people have said, and I've talked to them, that they think the Tournament of Power was dragged on too long in the anime. So you've got one version of the story that's very long. You've got one version that's very short. There is no happy medium here, but at least you have a choice in the matter. But this big uppercut rocks Jiren. I mean, Jiren is stunned, and Goku does indeed have Mastered Ultra Instinct. People are freaking out over it in the stands. He goes down. He's in so much pain that he actually holds his gut, like his solar plexus. He gets up. He tries to come at Goku again. He can't connect. Goku and Master Ultra Instinct is too much for Jiren as of right now. Connects with a big kick right to the stomach. And I thought that was great. And then he actually bounces Jiren around like the stones and whatnot, like a pinball. Like a pinball. And again, more of the arena continues to break. So we have that going on. Jiren tries to fire ki at him. And actually, there's an interesting scene where, like, it's almost like Vegeta gets nailed, but he doesn't, because Vegeta's still in this thing. Goku moves out of the way, prepares a Kamehameha, fires it, and again puts another hole in the arena. So these guys are just tearing the arena apart. He puts a big crater in it, and it looks like Jiren's eliminated, but he's actually, this is pretty cool, he's holding on to, like, the bottom part of the top, like the part that goes down, like the cylinder, right? He's holding, I wish I could show you, but yeah, I'm trying to avoid getting any copyright issues. I hope you all understand that. He's holding on to it barely with one hand, and that was cool. And then he uses his arm strength to kind of pull himself up and jump up, because he's very strong, through the hole to get back in the arena. I thought that was cool. And again, Jiren powers up. Having all kinds of trouble with Goku, can't connect. The story of the manga is that he can't connect. There's not much story here except for just pure fighting. Goku again rocks Jiren right in the mush, dude, right in the mouth. Again, Jiren goes for a right hand. He misses. Goku hits him again right in the jaw. Jiren is just completely bent out of shape, and Goku is digging into him. And I should mention also that in this version, I feel like Goku does trash talk a bit more than in the anime. He tells things, he tells Jiren stuff like, oh, well, if that's all you got, you're not going to do very well. You're not going to survive here. So that, was interesting. Ultra Instinct Goku doesn't really talk that much. And I do like that Whis explains straight up. He's like, Goku has dominated, has finally mastered 100% Ultra Instinct. Now, obviously, we know that he won't be able to maintain the form based on the ending of the anime, but it's still Mastered Ultra Instinct with the silver hair. So again, rinse and repeat. Jiren goes for a big shot. Goku gets behind him, kicks him in the back, which I thought was a very cool looking kick right here. Jiren's starting to feel pain, but Jiren is still in this thing. And what ends up happening is Jiren and Goku keep fighting, and they're about to hit like sort of the corner. They're going at it hard. I mean, it's illustrated very well. Jiren does connect with Goku. He's on his way out of the arena, but Vegeta actually catches him. You know, and it was pretty cool the way he caught him. He kind of just dove in and kind of caught him and prevented him from getting thrown out. But unfortunately, when they show Goku, Ultra Instinct is gone. He's back in his base form, dark hair, no more Ultra Instinct. And some people have already been complaining that this is all we're going to see of Mastered Ultra Instinct. Again, that remains to be seen, but to be honest, I would not be surprised. I mean, I really wouldn't be surprised at all. You know, Vegeta does save Goku, so Vegeta and Goku are in there. And then we have sort of an interesting, you know, I guess reveal or whatever. We find out what Jiren's wish is. Now, if you remember in the anime version of the events, they didn't really straight up tell us what the wish was. You know, we all kind of thought it was implied that he wanted more power. Then he said, oh, it's not about power. We thought maybe it was to wish his parents back. But no, that is not the case here. The wish that Jiren wants granted is that he wants to resurrect his former master, Kitchen. Now, they haven't gone into the entire backstory of Jiren in the manga like they did in the anime version, so it's difficult for me to tell you if this is a Toyotaro idea or a Toriyama idea, but I feel like it is from Toriyama because of the fact that it's too important of a plot point for Jiren's character for Toyotaro to just put it in there, in my opinion. I think that it's total Toriyama. He wants to resurrect his master. There's nothing in this version of the events. You remember, you have to keep the anime and manga separate because if you combine them, it gets confusing. There's nothing in this version of the events where they have a flashback to Jiren and his family and that whole backstory that was in the anime. None of that here. But there is some insight in that Jiren does want to resurrect his master, Kitchen, who was killed by a demon. Now, you know, I know there were some theories that I thought were mind-numbing, to be honest, about like Goku Black or Broly being the ones that killed Jiren's parents. But the fact that Jiren said that a demon killed his master, to me, means that there might be an idea for a future arc involving some kind of demon. Now, remember, there's tons of different demons in Dragon Ball. I've seen some people comment like, oh, Demigra, Dabura, you know, even King Piccolo. Those all qualify as being demons. They're different kinds of demons. Obviously, King Piccolo was revealed to be a Namekian later on, but you know, the idea of a future storyline where the demons are the villains, I think makes a lot of sense, and they could be teasing it here. They could be teasing a future angle, a future movie, future manga, whatever, of these demons being a threat. But unfortunately, in this chapter, they don't reveal, like, what the demon is, you know, what's going on with him, who he is. We don't get any information on that, but we just, at least now we know what Jiren's wish is. So, the final parts of the manga chapter is Jiren charging at Goku and Vegeta teaming up against Jiren in their base forms. Jiren has been worn out, so Jiren does have trouble fighting Goku and Vegeta, and it's great. I mean, the panels are great. They're managing to do pretty well against Jiren, but there is no, like, blue Kaioken or blue evolution here. None. That is not in this manga chapter at all. It's not even in the manga at all. There is no, these two forms, or these two power-ups, whatever you want to call them, are not in the manga at all. It's Goku and Vegeta in their base going against Jiren, and if you're wondering why they're doing so well, it's probably entirely because Jiren was worn down by Ultra Instinct Goku. So, the end of the manga chapter is really, Vermouth states that he thinks that Jiren might actually lose the fight, and the Universe 11 fighters, or the Universe 11 team is surprised to hear that, and then the chapter ends with Jiren squaring off against Goku and Vegeta, and they're both seemingly confident they're going to win. So that's how it ends. Nothing on 17 and Frieza in this manga chapter. The entire thing was Goku against Frieza. Honestly, the manga is getting better. They didn't focus much on story here. The backstory of Kitchen, as he's called, obviously it's a pun. It's a pun because, you know, the Tournament of Power fighters, the Universe 11 fighters are all, you know, based on kitchen utensils. Topo is pot. That's the pun. Jiren is range. Casserole is casserole. You know, so that all makes sense. But I am going to give this manga chapter a thumbs up. I haven't given a manga chapter a thumbs up in a while. If this is the end of Ultra Instinct Goku, it's going to be a bummer. But remember, we only saw Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku for like an episode and a few minutes, right? 129 to 131. It was like one whole episode, a little bit of A, a little bit of B. So we didn't see much of that form anyways in Dragon Ball. So having Toyotaro use it for one chapter, I don't think is really I mean, if you want to see more of it, I get it, but it's not really a fair comparison because it was the same thing in the anime. So you can't really say that he's shortcutting the fans here. It's not going to be something that they show a lot of. So, anyways, what did you think about Manga Chapter 41? Let me know in the comments. I appreciate you guys, and I sincerely hope you have a great day. Remember to take care of yourself and each other.